San Diego sports leader, it's the Mighty 1090. Darren Smith with you. Let's say hello to Brian Dutcher. He's the AHC, the HCIW. San Diego State at home tomorrow night for the final time for the 2016-17 season. It's senior night. I'm sure we'll spend a couple of minutes on that. Dutch, good to talk to you as always. Thank you very much for the time.
Great to be back, Darren.
2 games to go. Where has all the time gone?
It's flown by. You know, it's been a lot of work, you know. We're trying to figure the puzzle out still. You know, get all the pieces in there and try to find a way to get the team better. It's, you know, anybody that goes to a camp of some kind, you can get a lot done in a week. You go to a camp and, wow, I learned a lot. I'm doing this now, doing that. So even though it's a week left in the season, there's always things we can improve on, always things we can teach to. And so I think we're continuing to do that, and hopefully while winning a couple of games this week.
You know, it's interesting because you use the phrase, we're trying to figure the pieces of the puzzle here. We're trying to figure the puzzle out. You know, with 2 regular season games to go, and then you'll take your chances during the Mountain West Conference tournament in Vegas. But, yeah, I wonder, Dutch, thinking back now, you guys were picked, and it's just a silly media poll. I know you guys don't put a ton of eggs into this basket, but enough people around the Mountain West thought you guys were going to be good, that you guys were picked overwhelmingly to finish first in the West. Could you have imagined then, as a coach, I guess it's part of your job, but could you ever have imagined that going into the final week of the regular season that you'd still be trying to figure out the pieces to the puzzle?
You know, Darren, that's just the way it is sometimes with teams, you know, and I think a lot of that picking us first, we return a lot of veteran players, and we were excited about that, and we've won the league 5 of the last 6 years, so there's great respect for our program. But for whatever reason, whether it was injuries, players not stepping up into a bigger role, us as coaches not putting them in the best position to win, who knows? There could be a lot of things that go into that equation. But the beauty of our program is we don't sit there and say, well, it's the player's fault, it's the injury's fault, it's the coach's fault. We all kind of take ownership in this. So all of that has something to do with the year we've had. And with that being said, we still have basketball ahead of us. We still have a chance. This is going to be a one-bid league. The Mountain West is sending one team to the NCAA tournament. And so if we catch lightning in a bottle and we play well in Vegas, we could be talking about the NCAA tournament in a week. It's possible.
San Diego State is 16-12, 8-8 overall in conference play. Is there any way, though, to predict? You know, do you guys, when you hear that news, again, this is way back preseason, and I'm sure you take a look at it. Yeah, it's nice, but, you know, let's not get wrapped up in it. But could you have sensed at the start of the season that maybe this was a little bit more challenging than some of us on the outside might have guessed?
You know, Darren, I thought we'd compete for the title this year. I really felt we had the pieces to do it. And, you know, you look at our string of winning close games, and we won a ton of them over the last 6-7 years. And this year we're not winning the close games. So maybe luck has turned. So, you know, maybe it's a play or two. But you just look at Colorado State, who's in first place in the conference. They get us on 2 buzzer beaters.
Right.
You know, it's just the way basketball works sometimes. And so all our good work sometimes doesn't lead to the best results. And it doesn't mean we're not working hard. It doesn't mean we're not coaching as hard. It doesn't mean the players aren't putting everything they have into it. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce in the basket. Or sometimes in the last game, we did a poor job rebounding the ball. I mean, our initial defense was great, but we gave 20 offensive rebounds. And so there's always something. We plug one leak and maybe another one pops up. And so we're always addressing trying to get the team better. And I think we've done a good job of that. We're teachers first and foremost. So we're trying to teach these guys how to play basketball. And with all that being said, this is still a young team. Even though we're going to miss our seniors, you know, Malik Pope back, Zylan Cheatham back, Trey Kell back, Jeremy Hemsley back, Max Holtzel back. We have a lot of pieces back that we're not only we're not giving up on this year. We're trying to win this NCAA, this Mountain West tournament, get the NCAAs, but we're trying to improve the team for the future also.
Brian Dutcher is joining us on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. San Diego State will play its final home game, regular season game, tomorrow. They will play against Air Force. Pregame show starts with some guy named Jordan about 6:30, and then they will be on the road to wrap it up on the road at New Mexico. Dutch, one quickie from the past weekend at Colorado State. As you mentioned, you lose on a buzzer beater. And we had Mark Ziegler of the Union Tribune on yesterday, who's your beat reporter. And he did a great job, I thought, of talking to the coaching staff and explaining what went wrong on the play where Colorado State hits the three-point shot, about the rotation and about defense. Yeah, and I said to him, you know what, though, Mark? I am Dutch. I could live with that shot. I can live with that. He made a difficult shot. He double pumped, and it went in. Maybe you can't. To me, I found watching that game a couple of turnovers late, a free throw, a foul, the circumstances that led up to that great shot, that would be tougher for me to sleep on than the fact that the kid from Colorado State actually hit a very difficult shot.
Absolutely. We had some timely turnovers down the stretch where we didn't get a shot. With all that being said, we got the ball to Dakari on a set play. We wanted it to him. He swept, drove, got the basket and the foul. And then, we make a defensive mistake at the end. We dive out and cause a scramble and end up with Diero on a Magbo. And he couldn't have been any closer to him. My God, I can't imagine he couldn't smell his breath. He was so close to him. But he rose up over him and made a heck of a shot. So, you watch these games every night on TV. It's happening to somebody. Half the teams playing are losing and half are winning. And we can all sit there and say why it happened. Unfortunately, we've been on the losing end more than we normally are accustomed to being. And so, like I said, we all take responsibility in that. We all try to improve on that and continue to build on this Aztec basketball tradition, which is a rich one right now and one we want to keep going.
There are a lot of different ways, and I'm sure after the season's over, you guys will pore over the data and look at all the numbers and look at all the stats. But you are statistically the lowest scoring team in the Mountain West Conference, and you also have the fewest assists. And I just wonder, this is a chicken or the egg conversation. Are you guys not great with assists because you don't make shots, or do you not have creators? Are you not creating plays that would result in higher assist totals? I don't know how you view that necessarily, and I don't really know how I view it. I just look at numbers and burp them up on the radio every day. But what is it? I mean, are you guys low in assists because you don't make shots, 55 points for the last couple of games, and statistically the lowest scoring team in the Mountain West Conference? Or is it one more a factor than the other, if you understand my drift?
Yeah, I know, Darren. It's like if we were really driving the ball in there and not kicking it out, you'd say, well, they're just trying to drive and score the ball. But Matt Shrigley, who's one of our better shooters, has a 0 for 5 night at Colorado State, and all shots we thought were pretty good looks. So if he makes 3 of the 5, then that's 3 more assists. So, yeah, I think we're playing the right way. I don't think we're playing selfish. I think we're sharing the ball. But if the shot doesn't go in, there's no assist to be had. So we have to shoot better. I think both Trey and Jeremy are under 40% in the conference in the field. They got to be well above that if we're going to be successful. And there's a lot of things that go into it. Yeah, we got to take better shots, but after a while, if you start questioning every shot you take, then all of a sudden you catch the ball and you're thinking, should I do that? Should I not do this? And sometimes it's paralysis by analysis. At some level, you have to have confidence and just play. And so you always walk that line as a coach, teaching the good shots and then stripping them of confidence. And so we always walk that line as coaches.
Cheatham, is he a starter or is he not? I'm confused sometimes just looking at the box scores. Sometimes he's with the starting 5, sometimes he's off the bench. I guess minutes played is more important, but where is he right now here as you guys get set for the final week of the season?
Well, he lost out on his starting spot when he was hurt for a game or two. And then we just felt in certain games Val was better because he was better defensively than what Zion is. Zion's obviously talented offensively and plays extremely hard and can score inside some. And so, I mean, the reason I think you're seeing so many starting lineups is because no one player has stepped up and had that kind of year where you say, right, this guy has established himself. He is in that position. So I think the question is valid. Is he a starter or not? I guess it all depends on how he plays. And so we are what we are on the floor, and so we're looking for some consistency, not only in practice but in games where, Coach Fisher's always a guy that likes to have a set rotation. And I think this year, more than any year he's been here, we've adjusted the starting lineup, trying to find that combination or that magic.
Dutch, tomorrow night, one of my favorite nights in college sports. It doesn't matter if it's football or basketball, which is the conversation we're having, baseball, any sport. It's senior night. It's a chance to honor the seniors. This collection of seniors, you mentioned Shrigley, De'Ara Williams, Dakari Allen. I know I'm missing at least one here. What has this group meant to you? They've been a part of a lot of wins. I know last season, and we'll see the way this one shakes out, probably not the blueprint that you guys had hoped for. But just generally speaking here, what has this group of seniors meant to you guys?
I mean, they were a part of a great run in Aztec basketball. They all have conference championship rings on their fingers, multiple rings, and they've been a big part of what this program has been. Matt Shrigley, as a redshirt fifth-year senior, has been here for 5. Dakari and Diero, 4-year players in the program. All 3 going to get their degrees. All 3 going to be wonderful representatives of San Diego State University in Aztec basketball. And then there's Valentine and Zundu, who is actually probably had a senior day last year at Washington State, because then he transferred in here and is in grad school, but we'll honor him as his last year in the program, one and only year, and he's been invaluable this year to us, filling the role of Skylar Spencer as a shot blocker and defensive specialist, and then showing some offense when he rolls to the basket, gets around the hoop, dunks the ball, gets some offensive rebounds, putbacks, and so Valentine's been invaluable. So we're going to miss all those pieces. And obviously, the fans know the 4 seniors that have been here the extended period of time, and I hope they will come out and honor them for their contributions to Aztec basketball tomorrow
it's
night.
interesting. How close do you get to these guys on a personal level? Again, referencing the Ziegler interview from yesterday, he brought Diero Williams that he was pre-med. He's going to become a doctor. I was like blown away. I'd never heard this before. I had no idea. And, it stands out. It's not a major that you always associate with college athletes, no disrespect to your profession, not even college broadcasters, to disrespect mine. But, do you really, get a chance to get to know these guys and what makes them tick? Not just the basketball stuff, but, talk to Diero Williams about, the good dude's going to be a doctor someday.
Absolutely. How can you not get to know someone you spent 4 years with?
Right.
And all the time we spend.
You might need him at some point. You might need a doctor somewhere down the road.
Absolutely. Free medical service maybe down the road if I can just hang in there long enough. He's got a long road to hoe, obviously. Medical school is a long road, but no, these kids have been great representatives. I mean, you miss them. As a coach, you always say, well, next year you're going to have another group of 18, 19, 20-year-olds. But these guys, when they put that uniform on the last time, this is their last experience at that. So as coaches, we miss them, but we know we always have a team next year. But these guys, they lace them up for the last time, and they walk out there, and that's it. Their college career is over. There is no next college career. And so they'll carve their way in life, whether it's to attempt to play basketball beyond here for a couple of years, and whether it's 4 or 5 years additional basketball. But eventually they're all going to come back and support their Aztec program. They're going to have jobs and families, and they're going to bring them back and point to the banners that they hung in this arena while they played here. And so it's a great source of pride, not only for the coaches, but for the players as well.
Real quick, speaking of players that you used to coach, Rob Pelinka, you guys had him at Michigan, right? Now it looks like he's going to be the GM of the Lakers.
Absolutely. We had Rob for 5 years. My first year there was Rob's first year.
5 years? Wait, injured?
He redshirted his first year,
okay.
And he was actually a part of the national championship team in 1989. And then he played through the Fab 5 years and played valuable roles on those teams. And so Rob was a terrific player, but he was also the Walter Bayer Student Athlete of the Year, I think, in the country. And so he was an excellent student. And so it's no surprise at all that Rob went on to achieve great success as a sports agent, Kobe Bryant's agent, and now is going to be the general manager of the Lakers and will do an outstanding job in that position. I'm
sure.
You're
going to hit him up for tickets, get courtside?
Hey, the last thing I want to watch is more basketball. So maybe I'll go to see if he can get me a King ticket. I'll watch some hockey when this is over.
That's called a busman's holiday, right? Or
Absolutely.
You don't watch more hoops? I mean, listen, I could say something here. You can go watch, maybe your former player every once in a while. Maybe you can watch the team score every once in a while.
I will go support Rob and the Lakers if he ever asks me to come up. But no, it's, like you said, Darren, it's like all we do is watch basketball 24/7 here over the last 6-7 months. And so when the season's over, it's kind of nice to watch it as a fan instead of breaking everything down every day.
Gotcha. I hear you. All right. Well, Dutch, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip at Viejas Arena, final home game of the regular season on the road at New Mexico, upcoming this weekend, then the Mountain West Conference Tournament. As always, we thank you for your time, Dutch. We wish you well. I hope you guys finish it out strong here and get a little momentum heading into the tournament. We thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Darren.